This year, I am growing all the herbs. Over 50 varieties in my backyard garden. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Finding Joy in the Garden. I will be using the term herbs very loosely today, and I will be talking about 50 types of flavor enhancers I will be growing in my garden. I just want my food to taste like I have a garden. There has got to be a difference. Some of these plants I already have established in my garden. Others are annuals that I grow every year, and I have some new varieties that I'm so excited to try for the first time. Let's start with sage. I'm growing the broadleaf sage. I grew it for the first time last year. I had a really small plant, and this year I do want to spread it around the garden a bit more. This is the broadleaf sage. There are other types of sage. I actually would like to grow pineapple sage, but I have been unable to find it. So if you know somewhere that sells either pineapple sage seeds or plants, please let me know. I am gardening in Georgia, zone 7A. So if you grow it and you know somewhere where I can get it, please let me know. So this is a perennial herb and it lasts long into the cold of winter, which is true. Mine did not even blink at the sight of snow. So that was beautiful. And it produces soft lilac purple flowers in the summer. Now, I didn't have flowers last year, but as I said, my plant was really small. So I'm excited this year to see some flowers. And it is great for poultry, fish, and pork, also for soups. Broadleaf sage. Moving on to one I haven't grown ever before. This is cumin, and it's an herb used in a lot of Mexican cuisine. So great for chili and curry dishes. It doesn't say if it's an annual or not, but it does sell seed. If you know if it's an annual or perennial, let me know. I suspect it is an annual. 110 days to maturity. And it's grown for its seeds. It's pretty. Like if all I get is this, I'd be happy, but I'm going to grow some cumin this year. Sweet marjoram. Now this I've never grown before, so another new one. I told you I'm trying to get all the herbs in this year. But it's a tender perennial, so I don't know if it's perennial to my zone, but we shall see, shall we not? And it's a great container plant or border plant, and it sprawls quickly. It looks kind of like oregano, okay, with a more fragrant sweetness. I tried oregano once. I didn't quite like it. I hope I prefer this one. It's good for fish, meats, salads. Let's see, it's 80 to 85 days till maturity. So perennial to zones 9 to 11. So yeah, it's not perennial in my zone. I am in 8A. So sweet marjoram. Rosemary. Now this I already have established in the garden. I grew mine from cuttings from another older plant. I have no idea how old that plant is. It was here when we got the property, but I took cuttings off of it and grew another group of plants closer to my house. So in the kitchen garden, right outside my door, and it does really well. I have started it from seed in the past and it did really well. I might try to start it again from seed because I would like to put it in other areas in my garden just as an ornamental plant. It's very pretty and it does flower. It has little, I think lilac, little blue or lilac flowers. So this is an evergreen perennial. It says tender perennial. Mine does really well. It's gone through a lot of really cold temperatures and snow, and it's done just fine. So I think it is pretty hardy to my zone. Rosemary. Now, lavender, I have never actually used for cooking, but as I understand is good for baking and also for making teas. I've grown lavender and I killed it because I overwatered it. So we're going to try again this year. This is the true lavender and this is the Vera lavender. I actually purchased more seeds for, I think it's called a Munstead lavender from my gardener, and I'm waiting for that in the mail. But this is the common English lavender, and this one says true lavender. So I'll be growing both of these. The flowers are beautiful too. I know they are pollinator magnets, so you're getting not just the herb and the advantage for you, but also for your garden and the pollinators. Dill. Now, dill I've only grown once. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I've only grown it once. It looks really beautiful. I love the flower heads. I didn't eat it. I didn't use it. I just liked to look at it. But this year, maybe if I grow some more, I'll actually use it. So this is the Long Island Mammoth Dill. Now this is the Lebanese zatar. It's called a thyme, but it's not the regular thyme, like the English thyme. It's not that type. It's completely different. And the leaves look like this. And it's a spicy, arty, thyme-like plant with thin leaves and purple flowers. It has a strong flavor, great for drying, pickling, or curing in olive oil. So it is a strong flavor. If you ever grow this, I advise you to use just a little bit and see how you like it, because I've used it once and it was really strong. I might have used a little bit too much. So just a few leaves should do. Lebanese zatar. So I have some savory. This is the summer savory. Ignore the little, you don't see that. This is summer savory. And it looks actually kind of like the zatar. The leaves look very similar. I actually grew the zatar and a winter savory in one pot, and I couldn't tell the difference between the two, so I'm not sure. But this is summer savory, and it has a peppery, tangy flavor that is great for grilled chicken, mushrooms, and the likes. You can use it fresh or dried in salads and dressings. So summer savory, it's an annual, and I prefer perennial herbs because then I don't have to plant them every year. So I did get the winter savory, which is perennial, to my zone 4 to 8. And this is also a peppery culinary herb native to Europe, Mediterranean, and Africa. It's a semi evergreen. So winter savory. I also had a different savory. I don't see it now. I had the lemon savory. Don't know where the lemon savory is, but I do have lemongrass. Now this lemongrass I grew last year for the first time ever. I don't think I'd even ever seen lemongrass growing. It's not hardy to my zone, which was my initial hesitation, but I was like, please just grow it. So this was beautiful. So beautiful, smelled wonderful, looks like a total ornamental grass. Barely needed anything at all. I didn't fertilize it, I barely watered it, but it did so well in the garden that I am definitely going to try to grow it again this year. I grew it from seed, obviously, and I know the germination rate is supposed to be really poor, but it did really well with winter sowing. And if you don't know about winter sowing, or if you'd like more information about winter sowing, I'm going to leave a link to the playlist on winter sowing. I have different videos on how to winter sow, and you can get your information there. But this lemongrass was great. I'm going to grow a bunch more, spread it around the garden. It's a perennial, a lemony staple of Thai cuisine. Lemongrass. This is great for chicken dishes, fish dishes, making teas. It's an all-around great herb. And if you want to keep it alive in areas where it's not hardy to, like mine, you can actually grow it in a pot and then cut it down and before your first frost and take it in to the house or into the garage somewhere and keep it alive. So I may be trying that to overwinter them. I overwinter peppers, and I'll leave a link to my overwintering video if you're interested in that. I have some peppers that I had kept from the year before and grew it again, and they did really well. And I'm doing that again this year. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link to that video. So I will be doing that to lemongrass as well, see if I can keep some of that alive. Now onto alliums. I'm going to be growing a lot of green onions. Now I have this one here, the white Lisbon bunching onion. This is from the Dollar Tree. The red beard bunching onion. This is from M.I. Gardner. The Guardsman onion, and I have a lot of other green onions. And I'm gonna sow all these seeds because onion seeds don't keep very long, so the germination rate of these has probably already dropped because I bought these last year. So I'm just gonna grow them, and whatever I get out of them, I get out of them, and then I can always let them go to seed and collect more seeds because you just need to renew your onion seeds every year. So that's my plan for onions. I'm also going to be growing the lion's mane chives. This is from MI Gardener as well. And I already have some in the garden, but like I said, the seeds are going to go to waste anyway. So I'm going to grow some more of these chives and spread them around in the garden. This is different from the regular chives. This one has thinner leaves and has white flowers as compared to the purple flowers of the regular chives. I have both of them growing in my garden. I won't be planting more of the regular chives because I literally have that growing in my lawn, growing everywhere in my lawn. So some more things that will help to flavor my dishes. I have celery. This is the Amsterdam celery from Baker Creek. And this one is more of a cut and come again celery, which is what I want to grow. And it matures in 80 days. So it says it's a tasty cutting type celery with larger leaves and small fibrous stalks. So compare this to the celery you would usually get at the store. These are really thin stalks. So I'm going to grow this. You can see it says you can harvest it as a cut and come again herb. I also have a Utah tall celery. I can't remember the seller, but I got this from Etsy. And also the Chinese white celery, which is supposed to be more heat tolerant than regular celery varieties. Moving on to basils. Now, if you know me, if we've met before, you probably know that I love basils and I will grow every basil I can find. So if you watch this video and you know of a type of basil that I haven't shown here, please let me know in the comment section because I may be tempted to buy it. This here is the Italian large leaf basil. This is a cinnamon basil, which I have grown in the past. I didn't quite care for the taste of it, but I did use it more for cooking, and I think it might be better as a tea, so I may be trying to grow this again this year and see if I can use it as a tea, but cinnamon basil. And I have decided if I don't like a basil, I'll just let it go to seed for the pollinators because pollinators love basil. If you don't grow any other pollinator plants, if you grow basil and let it flower, the bees will go absolutely bonkers. So it's not going to be a waste. If I don't like it, the bees will adore it. So this is cinnamon basil, some Genovese basil. Now this was a rock star in the garden last year. This is the Ghana Akoko Mesa basil. It's supposed to be great for cooking chickens. That's what it's used for traditionally. It was very, very vigorous. And it lasted longer than pretty much every other basil in my garden. When the others were dying back, this Ghana Akoko Mesa was just powering on. So I will definitely be growing her again this year. The large lettuce leaf basil. I grew it last year, but I don't think I treated her kindly. So she didn't have big leaves for me and the slugs went at her. So we are going to give her another try this year. I want to use these leaves as a wrap. That's what I bought them for, to make like a chicken dish and chop up the chicken and wrap it in some lettuce. That just sounds delicious. Doesn't that sound delicious? That's what I want to do. So I need big leaves this year. Now, this basil is not for me. This basil is for the bees. I grew this last year. This does not need help to grow. This will take over your garden. I put it in a little spot and it took over a quarter of my garden bed. It grows big. So if you're going to put it in your garden bed, make sure you have the space for it. But I don't like it. It smells, I don't know if it's licorice. It has a smell. I don't like it. So the smell is not horrible. It just does not smell like something I would like to eat. I don't want to eat it. So I let it go to flower. The bees, I had to let the bees go at it and wait for them because I couldn't get into my garden bed. They were all over. Of all the basils I grew that flowered, this one attracted the bees the most. So if you need a pollinator magnet basil, here you go. Blue spice basil. Get this one. If you've ever eaten it and you liked it, please let me know what you did with it. Let me know what you did with it because I can't imagine this in my, no. Now, my all-time favorite basil has always been this bush spicy globe basil. And one of the reasons may be that it was one of the first basils I ever grew. And look, it looks like a little hedge. That doesn't look real. So the first time I grew it, I couldn't believe it actually grows like this. And the more you cut it, you can cut it into a shape that you like. But it is delicious. The leaves are really tiny, but every leaf packs a punch. You need one leaf of this will give you more flavor than a regular leaf of a regular basil. This is so good. And If you have a small garden, if you're growing in a green stalk or just in containers, this is the basil for you. Get this basil. It doesn't take up much space. You only need a little bit to flavor your food. It looks beautiful. Bush spicy globe basil. Don't sleep on this. Now, for color, for beauty, why not? Basil, dark opal purple basil. Now, when you grow it, if you grow it and it looks green, don't despair. Give it time. I think it has something to do with how much sun it gets, but mine starts off green and I'm like, this is not it. And then it turns dark purple eventually. Mine was not this dark, but it was pretty close. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So dark opal purple basil. Now this basil is not purple, but the flowers are. This is the Thai basil. It's a regular Thai basil. It has green leaves and purple flowers. It's delicious. It's a bit strong. It's a different taste from a regular basil, but it's used in a lot of Thai cuisine. So if you like Thai food, you can buy this Thai basil. Also great when it flowers for the bees. And there's another variant, which I bought just because the flowers looked divine. So the flowers grow as a clump. So versus this one, they're both Thai basil, but this one makes like a little stick one. And this one is just like, it's almost like a globe. Oh no, like a flame, like that, shaped like a flame. It's very gorgeous. So Siam Queen Thai basil. But wait, there's more. This is a piccolino basil, and I need to grow this because it looks so cute like this. But when I grew it, for some reason, mine grew really tall, very lanky. I don't know. I'm just going to blame it on myself and say that I mixed up my seeds, but I'm going to try it again this year and see if I can get this itty bitty cute little piccolino basil to grow in my garden because it's gorgeous. And speaking of tiny basils, I still have some more tiny basils. This is the dwarf Greek basil, which looks almost identical to the spicy globe basil. And if it's small and purple, even better. This is the purple ball basil. It looks like this. I grew it. It looks like this. And I actually put it in my flower garden as well because why not? That's a flower. What are you trying to say? This is a flower. So purple ball basil, it tastes just like basil. Like the taste is just the same, but the color is so beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to grow it? Purple ball basil. Some more basil from the heart of Africa. This is Evivi Ntor basil. This is from Ghana, and it's peppery. It has a floral flavor with a hint of pine and citrus. Traditionally used in soups, stews, sauces, and beverages. Evivi Ntor. New to me this year, I will be growing holy basil. So there is a basil I haven't grown. This is a holy basil, and it's supposed to be good for teas. I really want to try a basil tea this year. It's also known as sacred basil. It has a slightly peppery and clove-like flavor. So that's the only thing that's throwing me off a little bit. I don't know if I like cloves, but we shall see. Holy basil. If you feel that I've missed out on some spices or herbs or flavor enhancements that you love to use in your kitchen or that you grow in your garden, please let me know in the comment section. This is parsley. I need to grow it just to know if I like it. I have never really used parsley, so I will just grow it to see if I like it. And it is an annual, so but we shall grow some Italian parsley this year. Stevia. I grew this last year. It's supposed to be a replacement for sugar. So it's a tender perennial. It's not hardy to my zone. So it's an annual here. But it's a sugar substitute. The leaves can be dried and used to sweeten drinks and desserts. Now I tried it straight out of the garden and I liked the first taste of it. It was sweet, and then I was hit with an aftertaste, which I did not like at all. So I don't know if I'm using it wrong. If you've used stevia, if you know how to dry it or how to make a tincture out of it, if you know how to use stevia, let me know, because I'm going to be giving it a try again this year, and I would like this to work because, why not? Sugar substitute. It's time for thyme, starting with the regular English thyme. This is a common thyme or English thyme. This one is from the Dollar Tree, and I've grown this for a couple of years. I like it. The leaves are pretty small. My only bias is that I grew a lemon thyme, which I've never seen seeds for some reason. Does anyone know why we have never seen seeds for a lemon thyme? I don't know. But I bought a plant from one of the big box stores and I've grown it every year for, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years. It's a perennial, it keeps coming back. Those leaves are a bit bigger than these ones. The flowers are a bit pink compared to these ones that flower white. And I just prefer the lemon thyme for some reason. So that's my only bias. But this thyme is excellent. It grows really well. It comes back year after year. So I will be growing some more thyme because I would like to spread it around my garden as well. I have some French thyme. I bought another pack from My Gardener because I forgot I already bought it from Renee's garden. But French thyme, I grew it already and it's beautiful, but I think I killed it. I don't know where it is in the garden, so I'm going to be growing some more French thyme and some Orangelo thyme. Now this one is still in my garden. It is really hardy. It doesn't even blink when snow is on it. It looks really beautiful and it tastes delicious. Hardy to zones 5 to 7. I also grew a creeping thyme, but that's in my flower garden. Now moving on to a category that most people will not consider an herb, but it's an excellent flavor enhancement, and that's peppers. Now the first one I'll be talking about is the long thin cayenne pepper, which is great for making pepper flakes. If you need peppers, hot peppers for anything, any kind of dishes, this is a great one. It does make a lot of peppers. You can dry them really easily, store them and use them over the winter season. So long thin cayenne pepper, one of the very first peppers I grew in my garden, and I tend to grow it every year. The serrano pepper can be used to make a hot pepper sauce. It is very flavorful. I love the way it looks. I'm going to be growing a lot of this to flavor my dishes. And this is one I grew a couple years ago, more like I planted it and didn't come up. So I bought some more seeds and I want to grow this. It's a Tobago seasoning pepper, and it's supposed to be more of a heatless pepper that is like a habanero, but without the heat. So it's more just fruity. And I do love the habanero pepper. It's one of my favorite peppers to use, but I would like to use more of that flavor without adding more heat. So this is where the Tobago seasoning pepper comes in. Another great type of seasoning pepper would be the jalapeno pepper. This is a pumpkin spice jalapeno, which is new to me. I grew the lemon spice last year and I'm adding this to the collection, the pumpkin spice, as well as the regular jalapeno pepper, which ripens to red. This is a red hot habanero pepper. I grow the red habanero, the orange habanero, the chocolate habanero, a white habanero, and a yellow habanero. A lemon habanero is what it was called. So that's what I grew last year. I'll be growing quite a few varieties this year as well, but just to show you what you can grow in your garden to enhance flavor in your kitchen. Now this is the ají charapita, and it was one of my failures last year. For some reason, it didn't come up last year, and I'm determined this year to have this pepper grow in my garden. It's quite a famous pepper. It was supposed to be one of the more expensive type peppers that you can grow, and it's a very tiny pepper from Peru, often grown as a houseplant, and the small peppers are harvested as needed in the kitchen. I don't have growing space in my kitchen or enough light to grow anything in my kitchen, but I will be growing this outdoors. It has a distinct fruity citrus aroma and has the heat of a cayenne pepper. And it's pretty. They didn't mention it, but it's beautiful. The ají charapita. Now this is the Tabasco pepper. I didn't grow this last year because these peppers are tiny. They take a long time to mature, and at the end of the season, I do not wish to pick 100 billion thousand peppers. But I will be growing it this year because I do like how they look. They are very pretty. I like to watch them grow. So if for nothing else, I will do that. And this is the pepper that's used in the Tabasco sauce. So maybe I'll make a hot, maybe I won't, but you never know. Maybe I'll do it. Tabasco. Now another seasoning pepper, the habanada pepper. I grew these last year and only one came up and it was super small and stunted. So we're going to be trying again this year to get a habanada pepper. It's supposed to be like a heatless habanero pepper. Who doesn't want that? Habanada. We're going to move on because I think you get the point that you can use peppers to flavor your dishes. Moving on to the Russian tarragon. I grew this a couple of years ago and never even tasted it. I just watched it grow. I have a problem with that. I grow things that are beautiful. I just look at them and I don't eat them. This year has to be different. Please tell me I'm not alone in that. Do you do that too? Is it just me? It can't be just me. Somebody help me out in the comment section and let me know you do that too. But this year we're going to be trying the herbs. This is the Russian tarragon and is great for use in salads, fish, chicken, vegetables, many French foods. We shall see. I know there's a French tarragon, but it doesn't grow well from seed, if I remember correctly. It doesn't grow true from seed. So you have to get like a plant or cuttings. So we shall make do with the Russian tarragon. Moving on, we have some lovage, and this is new to me. So if you have grown lovage, let me know about it in the comment section. It's a perennial, which is why I got it. It says perennial. I probably will get it because I just want to plant things and not have to plant them again. But the leaves and seeds impart a nice celery taste. So let's see if my celery doesn't do well and this one does well. Hey, there you go. It's used in soups, salads, pickles, and more, and can be grown in most of the north. So that means it's definitely hardy to my zone. So lovage. And papalo. This is narrow-leafed papalo. I was hoping this was a perennial, but if I remember correctly, it's an annual. It's a heat-tolerant, intensely flavored herb, sometimes compared to cilantro. And I don't even know if I like cilantro, but we will be planting some papalo. It's native to Mexico and South and Central America, and it's used mostly as a flavoring for soups or stews, or chopped raw for a condiment. I can do that. So, papalo. If there's an herb that's missing from my list, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. Let me know what else I can add to my garden, and it might help someone else who's trying to grow an herb garden. Like this video if you liked the video, subscribe to watch all these herbs grow in my garden, and until next time, may you always find joy in your garden and your life. Bye, garden friend.